Hello and welcome to this screencast introducing the curriculum specification for junior cycle geography. This specification will be studied by first year students from September 2018 onward. During the screencast, it would be useful if you had a copy of the specification to refer to, either digital or hard copy. There is also a document available on the geography section of jct.ie that you may wish to print off and use to take notes during the screencast. For the purposes of this screencast, I will talk about the PDF version. It can be accessed online and downloaded as a PDF from the Curriculum Online website. You can now see the homepage on screen. Clicking on Junior Cycle will lead you to this page here. When you scroll down through the list of subjects and click on Geography, it brings you to this page. By clicking on this photograph, it will lead you to the PDF version of the specification, which the front page looks like this. One of the first sections of the specification is the rationale, which explains the benefits to be gained from the study of geography. The specification defines geography as the study of the Earth's landscapes, peoples, places, and environments. It also states that geography adheres to the scientific method and pursues scientific principles and logic. From here, we go to the aim on page 5. The specification describes what is hoped that students will become after studying junior cycle geography. The next few pages show us examples of how junior cycle geography fits into the framework for junior cycle. Page 6 provides examples of how 7 of the 24 statements of learning link to learning outcomes in the geography specification. Page 7 has the key skills poster, and page 8 gives examples of where geography can develop the key skills. If you are watching this screencast as a subject department, this will be a chance to pause the video and consult the statements of learning and the key skills, and develop more examples of where you think they will be developed in the junior cycle geography classroom using the handout from jct.ie. On page 9, we are introduced to the layout of junior cycle geography, and we first see the core sections of the specification. In the Venn diagram, at the bottom of the page, we can see 3 circles that overlap. These are the 3 strands. Strand 1 is exploring the physical world. Strand 2 is exploring how we interact with the physical world. And Strand 3 is exploring people, place, and change. Each strand is made up of learning outcomes. There are 28 in total, with 10 in Strand 1 and 9 each in Strands 2 and 3. Surrounding the strands, we see our elements. We have processes, patterns, systems, and scale, geographical skills, and sustainability. These will be the lens through which the students experience the learning outcomes. Surrounding all of this is the overarching concept that the specification is informed by, geoliteracy. All of these are explained in further detail on the following pages. Page 10 explains to us what the specification means by geoliteracy. It is defined here as the ability to develop far-reaching decisions through geographical thinking and reasoning. We see that geoliteracy is the concept which informs the junior cycle geography specification. It will provide the framework for understanding in geography and will facilitate students' understanding of geographical topics in an integrated manner, demonstrating the interrelationship between topics and the impact they have on the student. Geoliteracy is developed through understanding the 3 I's: interactions, interconnections, and implications. If you are watching as a department, this could be a good place to pause and allow discussion of where you feel you would highlight some of the 3 I's in your classroom. Page 10 continues with an introduction to the strands and the areas that the learning outcomes will cover. At the start of this section, it is stated that the specification emphasizes a nonlinear, integrated approach across the strands. Combining learning outcomes across strands to develop learning experiences is encouraged. This will become clearer when we look at the learning outcomes in a moment. From here, we are given a description of the role of the elements on pages 11 and 12. Each of the elements is broken down into ways that the teachers could use them to help their students experience the learning outcomes. It will be the teacher's decision to decide the approach they wish to use in their classrooms based on the needs of their students. However, it would be appropriate for students to experience learning through each of the elements at different stages over the course of the 3 years. It will be possible to teach through 2 or even 3 of the elements simultaneously. For example, teaching students to spot patterns of settlement on maps inevitably leads to students needing to develop their map reading skills. Please pause the video if you wish to read through each element in detail. The next section on page 12 gives some information to us about how junior cycle geography fits into the progression from primary school and then on to senior cycle. We see how junior cycle geography will build on the themes of place, space and environment from primary school. The knowledge and skills gained in primary school will be further developed using active methodologies that students will be used to from primary school. It continues to say that junior cycle geography builds a foundation for students that will prepare them to study at senior cycle. Not only geography, but some of the knowledge and skills will be applicable to other subjects. Page 13 begins with expectations for students and outlines that the online versions of the specification will have links to examples of students' work at various levels. These will help inform us as teachers, as well as students and parents, of what is expected of students. This will be a very useful aspect of the online specification. The second half of the page provides us with a description of what a learning outcome is. This is important to understand, as the 28 learning outcomes in junior cycle geography are the aim for what we want our students to achieve by the end of the 3 years. They are detailed statements that contain knowledge, but also describe the understanding, skills and values students should be able to demonstrate after 3 years of studying junior cycle geography. It will be important for geography departments in schools to collaborate and work together for them to develop an understanding of what each learning outcome is expecting of students. The 28 learning outcomes for junior cycle geography are written on the next 3 pages. Although they are numbered, this is purely for reference purposes for teachers while planning. There is no ranking assigned to any learning outcome. Please pause the video now to read through each strand. Although the learning outcomes are single sentences, there is a large amount of detail in each, and teachers will need to break them down before introducing students to the content. The optimal way to complete this unpacking of learning outcomes is through collaboration. In other words, to work with another teacher or group of teachers to bounce ideas off each other and further develop your own understanding of what is involved before you decide what the learning outcome expects of a student. As you will have read, Strand 1 is exploring the physical world. It has 10 learning outcomes that focus on physical geography. Strand 2 is exploring how we interact with the physical world, which looks at how people interact with many of the things mentioned in Strand 1, and the impacts the things in Strand 1 have on people. Strand 3 is exploring people, place and change, which includes, among others, a study of population, development and globalization. It has 9 learning outcomes. Teachers will plan by using these learning outcomes and will consider the ways in which the students will experience the learning outcomes using the 3 elements. All the while, teachers will be looking for opportunities to highlight where one thing links to another to build geoliteracy within their students. As I'm sure you are noticing as you read, many learning outcomes have links with other ones, some within strands and some across the strands. It will be up to each school's geography department to decide the approach they wish to take in terms of linking the learning outcomes in order to plan what they teach and when. The next section is about assessment. This is a key aspect of the framework for junior cycle, and geography, like other subjects, will take a dual approach to assessment, where both formative and summative will be used and each will complement the other if planned for and carried out effectively. Pages 17 and 18 outline the assessment and reporting structure of junior cycle geography. Pages 18 to 20 outline a new type of assessment for junior cycle geography, the classroom-based assessments, or CBAs. Each student will conduct 2 CBAs, one towards the end of second year and another before Christmas in third year. The CBAs provide students with the opportunity to conduct an investigation into an area of interest to them, therefore developing their understanding even further of some of the learning outcomes. After each CBA, the teachers of those students will hold a subject learning and assessment review meeting, where they will discuss what their students produced during their investigations and agree a common understanding of standards in order for students' work to be assigned one of the 4 grade descriptors. Take a moment now to pause the video and read through the information on each CBA. On page 20, we see information on assessment which will be marked by the State Examinations Commission and upon which the students will receive their state certification. This will include an assessment task and a final exam. At the end of the specification, there are 2 appendices. The first is on pages 21 to 22 and provides definitions for the action verbs that are used in the learning outcomes. This will be an important reference point for teachers when working with learning outcomes to ensure they cover the content of the outcome. It is also important that teachers use these definitions rather than their own understanding, as there may be some discrepancy with what one may understand by a word and what the specification means it to be. The other appendix is on page 23 and provides definitions for various geographical terms that are used in the specification. Thank you for listening to this screencast introducing the curriculum specification for junior cycle geography. One final reminder that it is available to view and download from curriculumonline.ie. Please visit the JCT website for further information on resources that might help you teach this specification.